So it's a new year, new goals. Don't cheat your future. And this new 2023, many of us have actually written down our new year resolutions. One thing I know is that many of us would have in that resolution is a financial goal for the year. Writing it down is not just enough. We need to work towards achieving this goal. How do you ensure you secure your financial goal for this year? We're going to be hearing from our experts. Joining us on the show now is the head Affluent and Oragwu. Welcome to the show from FBNquest.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show.
Good morning.
So why is it important to have a financial goal? You know, many of us going to the new year, it's January already, so we're in February 2nd already, and we're thinking we need to plan money this year. Why is it so important for us to have a financial goal this year?
Okay, so I'll say that it's important for three reasons, basically. The first, which is the most important to me, is that it takes you from being a dreamer to being an achiever. In Nigeria, we're very aspirational. Everybody wants to reach the moon.
Wait till you hear my own financial goal.
And so without a financial goal, you know, you just stay there at the dreaming level. But by the time you start a financial goal, first, before you can put it down, you have to think about it. You have to find out the logistics. You need to do some research. So it helps you to understand what it is you're doing. And then it motivates you. By the time I've written down, okay, I'm starting my business in September, you know, I then become more deliberate about what I do. And the last thing about the financial goal is that it helps you to be able to control, you know, everything that you do, your finances, to think about it. Right now, inflation at 21%, we have every day their needs, ours, others, and so you're able to be more purposeful about how you do things.
So what are the tips or what's the advice to separate myself or improve myself from being a dreamer to an achiever?
Ah, good. Very good question. Okay, and so I'd say the first thing is to make it a clear, measurable goal. So rather than say, I'm going to be a business mogul, what does that mean? You know? So you basically say, I'm going to establish a business in this sector, hairdressing, whatever, and then it's going to be within this period, in the next 1 year, for instance. And then you put a financial number to it. So I've done the costing of all that is required, and it would cost me 10 million naira. And so that way I know that every month I'm going to put aside this amount of money. So it's clear to yourself and to everyone else. And then I'd say another way to ensure that you do that is to get other people to hold it accountable. If you have friends who are serious about you, who are strict with you in a certain sense, or it could be your mentor, or you could talk to a financial advisor, you get them to understand what you're doing so that they also keep you in check. And so if you've set out your plans, you've written it down, you've established what's required, and you have a way to keep yourself in check, I think you'll be able to achieve your goal.
Okay, so we are constantly worried about inflation in the country. You save your money in the bank. Normally, when you start out with a financial goal, the first thing is to save some amount of money for whatever business you want to get into in the future. But then you're saving the money in the bank, and inflation is reducing the value of your money day to day. How do you protect the money that you want to invest in? Or instead of saving it, can you invest in bits? You know, with your...
Absolutely. And I'm happy, I think I'm working with people who are actually going to achieve their financial goals from your question. And so you definitely can save, invest in bits. I talk a bit later about the products you can do that in. But the good thing is we have investment options that start with as little as 5,000 naira. And so for even people who are just maybe fresh graduates, everyone has a goal. Everyone has an aspiration. They are able to start to invest with as little as 5,000 naira, the amount you'd spend going to cinema, you know, popcorn, you know, all of that, towards actually achieving their goal and basically living their best life, ultimately.
I like that.
So, of course, whenever we talk about these things, we need to break it down, because if we don't give specific direction on what people should do with that money, because right now, we already know that with as little as 5,000 naira. But what are the products that FBNquest Asset Management have that people can plug into specifically so they can take action immediately?
Oh, thanks for that. And so the way we work in FBNquest is that we realize that we have a wide array of investors. We have, and everybody has different goals. We have our short-term goals. pay my rent, even commute to work, whatever. We have our medium-term goals, what I want to do in the next 1 to 3 years, you know, grow my business, rent a house, and then we have our long-term goals. And so our products are structured in that way. We have the short-term money market funds, and our yields are very decent, almost at 14% right now. And it's more like, it's almost akin to a savings account. You can take out your funds regularly and all of that. We have the medium-term funds, which are the bond fund and then our dollar funds. We realize that some of our goals are in dollars. Some people need to import some goods to be able to run their businesses. And so we have $2 funds, the specialized and the regular dollar fund. You can earn even as high as 9% on a specialized dollar fund. And then we have the long-term funds. The long-term funds are high risk, high potential return. So if you're a young person, or if your goal, you have a specific goal that's not in the next few years and you're ready to, even if I lose a bit of money, I know that as the cycle moves, I'm going to make more money. You can put it in our long-term funds. And so for that, we have the equity-based fund, which is, and the smart beta is what we call it, and the balanced fund. And so for your short-term, medium-term, long-term, Naira, foreign currency, whatever your goal requires, in FBNquest, we're able to deliver.
Product for you.
Can you help me grow my wealth? In just because I just like to live. I want to travel to the Bahamas. I just want to live. You know, I'm in my 60s, and I'm planning for my 60s. My kids are grown. I just want to live. How do you grow my wealth so that when I'm 60, I can live?
Without struggle.
Without struggle.
I like that, and that's the state that I'm at now, where I'm trying not to struggle after hustling for all these years. And so I'd say it's still with a financial plan, but this would be for a more long-term plan. And so when you say live without struggle, we'd have to sit down. Ideally, I'd say talk to one of our financial advisors and establish what is living without struggle to you. And so we'd ask you a series of questions. What does that mean? You said going to the Bahamas, so there'd be travel involved. There'd be ensuring that all your bills can be paid. You don't want stress, right? You want your investments to just pay all of that. And so we'll be able to itemize all these things, cost them, and then have a plan. And we'd look at everything you earn now. And this includes gifts. If you know you're in a family that you regularly get gifting from, you build that in. And then if we see that it doesn't quite meet your plan, there are two things we can do. We can either look for other alternatives like side hustles. If you see that there are some things you've been doing for free that you know you could have charged for, we could find a way to start to help you to charge for that.
Monetizing them.
Yes,
Nice.
to monetize them. Or you could revisit your plan and say, okay, maybe not the Bahamas, but I would be happy with this.
To go to
And
Accra.
so there are two ways to go about it. But the idea is you know ahead, you make sure it's something that inspires you, and then you work with a plan, a deliberate plan.
All right. So when we hear head of Affluent, I wonder, is it like you're only for affluent people or?
That's an important question.
Yeah, head of Affluent.
Actually, no.
Okay.
The way we structured it is such that it's aspirational. Everyone aspires to be affluent. And so we have retail clients, we have all ends of clients there. But the idea is, you know, when you're reporting to a sales team that's called Affluent, you sort of feel like, I have to hold my own. I have to stick to my plan. I have to move up.
All right, FBNquest, Affluent Department. Okay, thank you. So any final words for our viewers? Because, I mean, I know our listeners out there can always speak with any FBNquest asset management to help them grow their wealth and know how to best manage their assets. Thank you so much, madam, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we want our topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.